I've been studying limerence for over a decade now, and I've helped nearly 1,000 students on my limerence recovery course free themselves from obsession. Something I've learned along the way is that there can often be one big, hairy problem that blocks people's recovery. It's not always the same problem, of course. Everyone is unique, but there are a few meaty ones that come up again and again. In this video, I'll show you the top 10 most difficult barriers that struggling limerents face and give you one quick win to help break through them. Hi, my name is Tom Bellamy. I'm a neuroscientist and writer, and I blog all about limerence at livingwithlimerence.com. I'm also the author of Smitten, which explains what limerence is, how neuroscience can help us make sense of it, and how to recover from it. Right, let's get to that top 10. So, to rank the bulkiest barriers to recovery, I recently asked the community at livingwithlimerence.com to tell me what their biggest problems are. And over the month that post was live, 1,500 people clicked on it, left hundreds of comments or emailed me directly, and I read the lot. As you might expect, there were some highly specific issues, but also some big topics that came up again and again. Let's tackle those. Problem number 1, intrusive thoughts. One of the most distressing and disruptive problems is dealing with intrusive thoughts. As Niniane puts it, how to get rid of intrusive thoughts. That's huge, and it carries over into other aspects of life too. Anger, envy, remorse, etc. How to reclaim a mind that's been hijacked by any experience or emotion. Or, as Phil puts it, I yearn for so much more. I fantasize about it, allow intrusive thoughts to dominate, and wallow in self-pity. It's a madness, all so foolish. Intrusive thoughts are those involuntary thought loops that you feel unable to escape. Your limerent object seems to invade your mind at the slightest trigger. That obsessive cycle can start as soon as you wake up and haunt you all through the day. And an important point is that the nature of those intrusive thoughts often changes as the limerence progresses. So early on, they're typically desire-driven, so wanting to be with your limerent object, how everything in your environment triggers the urge to seek them, or you rehearse possible conversations that you hope might delight or impress them. But as time goes on, and the thrills of limerence give way to an addictive dependency, the thoughts can become more anxiety-based. So, I'm losing my chance, or I have to tell them how I feel, or I can't believe how I behaved. Now, although these types of intrusive thoughts are best managed in different ways, the key mental shift needed is to accept them. Don't try and suppress intrusive thoughts. If you try to bottle them up, they gain more psychological pressure, and they get more dangerous, more explosive. So like pressure building up in a boiler, you need to kind of let the steam out slowly. You need to acknowledge them, accept that they will sometimes come, but then let them pass. That's how you reduce their emotional power. Now, one mindset shift that can really help is to think of your intrusive thoughts as a scared child in the back of a car that you're driving. So yes, the constant anxious questions, how much longer? Is it safe? Why do we have to do this? I want to stop. They're annoying and distracting. But shouting at the child to shut the hell up won't actually solve the problem. Children need to be reassured. Not long now, don't worry, I know what I'm doing, we'll get there safe and sound. Practicing patience and recognizing that intrusive thoughts are the frightened outbursts of your subconscious helps calm your mind and speed up recovery. Right, big problem number 2, guilt. So this problem applies most obviously to people who are limerent for someone that they shouldn't be limerent for. As Camilla puts it, the absolute damnation of being life partnered with generally a good code of ethics and morals and thinking all is well, and then a limerent object appears, causing havoc and making a mockery of promises, truths, and values by their mere existence. And as Kat says, I'm so worried that this will eventually wreck my relationship. I feel this constant guilt. It's a massive psychological burden when the strength of limerent temptation is stress testing your morals. But I think the big win here is embracing the guilt. Use it. Guilt can be productive when it makes you feel the consequences of breaking your own moral code. Limerence is a deeply rooted drive that's all about feelings, and guilt can be used to face the limerence on its own territory in that feeling part of the brain. So genuine guilt about your actions is a tool that you can use for mentally deprogramming yourself out of the false association that your limerent object is a source of reward. To recover from limerence, you have to teach your subconscious that the intoxicating pleasures of limerence are actually toxic. So when I give in to temptation, I don't like myself. They aren't really a source of happiness. They just make me high. People I love suffer when I pursue them. I don't want to be the kind of person that does that. That's the reality of what they mean for my life. So use guilt, use these sorts of mantras to rewrite the mental program that limerence equals reward into limerence equals regret. But I would add one important distinction here. There is a difference between guilt, so I've done something that I regret, and shame. I am a terrible person. Shame is very rarely useful because it's just destructive to your self-esteem. And it's also often a manipulation of other people who want to guilt trip you into doing what they want. So trust your own judgment about your own actions over other people attacking your character. Okay, big problem number 3, grief and mourning. This one is more about sadness and loss, but no less emotionally potent. So as Miller puts it, grieving for a connection or fulfillment that's never going to happen because the person I yearn to connect with, this special glimmering person, doesn't exist. A lot of people feel this pain. It's the death of hope, the loss of a beautiful illusion. So this can be understood as a form of what's known as disenfranchised grief. So that's a term coined by the psychologist Kenneth Dokar to describe grief that isn't seen as justified or socially acceptable. So grieving a connection that wasn't a genuine relationship, but that meant so much to you, might seem foolish or selfish, often even to the suffering limerent themselves. And the way to handle this grief is to let go of that embarrassment and accept that you are experiencing loss for something that had enormous meaning for you, even though it wasn't real in a public or social sense. And I actually think this is a healthy way to make sense of limerence, because grief is a process of letting go of someone while remembering what they meant to you. Any limerence episode can be looked back on as an important stage of your own emotional development. Okay, problem number 4, more practical this time. I can't go no contact. So this is common if you work or study with your limerent object. As LAR asks, what are the recommended methods to manage and withdraw from limerence when no contact is not an option, e.g. when it's a workplace limerence episode? Going no contact is obviously a powerful strategy for recovery, as you're removing the source of temptation, cutting off access to your drug of choice. But it's often not within our control as individuals. Now, the solution here is to focus intensely on what is within your control. So first up, limit your contact as far as you can. So any sort of casual contact like coffee breaks or after work drinks, they can go. So don't use the impossibility of complete no contact as an excuse to just give in and carry on as usual. Second, realize that contact doesn't only apply to in-person meetings. So there's lots of indirect forms of contact that reinforce limerence, texting or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, or even just sort of passively browsing their social media accounts. So gradually wean yourself off all these channels until contact is as limited as you can make it. And that gives you the best hope of dealing with the remaining few points of uncontrolled contact effectively. Okay, problem number 5, emotional dependence. Many limerents feel helpless because their limerent objects seem to have complete control over their emotions. How she acted towards me and any contact controlled my mood completely. This feeling of helplessness, of dependency on them, means that a limerent can have the best intentions in the world, but then find that all their resolve collapses in the moment. The limerent object works their beguiling magic, and your emotions just dance to their tune. Now, the way through this barrier is to take back control by analyzing your limerent object. So the goal is to train your executive brain to engage with your situation as a puzzle to be solved, a problem that needs to be fixed. That helps interrupt the sort of purely emotional response that otherwise dominates your encounters. So you want to get to the point where they're still triggering strong desires, strong emotions in you, but you choose how to act. So this is the self-development aspect of limerence recovery. Instead of being dazzled by them and led by your emotions, you confront the reasons why you are psychologically vulnerable. What is it about them that you're responding to? Where do those needs come from? Who are you deep down? And what do you want out of life? And what are they getting out of your infatuation? So redirect your mental energy from trying to understand how to please them to understanding yourself. Okay, problem number 6 is manipulative limerent objects. Sometimes we become besotted with someone who is bad news. My limerent object is manipulative. They lie a lot and try to manipulate everyone. When his charm doesn't work out, he applies pressure. Well, once you've recognized this in your own limerent object, there's really only one good option: escape from their influence. Learn the tricks they use to manipulate and harden yourself against them. Don't try and untangle the mystery of why they act this way, what their true motives are, or whether you can rescue them from their flaws. Just accept the need to break free from their toxic influence. And to help with that, watch my video on how to overcome limerence to free yourself. There's a link below. Problem number 7. I don't want to lose the friendship. Another really common one, and one of the most emotionally taxing problems, surprisingly. So lots of limerents really like their limerent objects. Their limerence doesn't feel like a dark or illicit desire. They're drawn to people who are good. A depressed nerd has one of the clearest examples of this problem. I am a homosexual and I develop limerence for my close male friends. The prospect of cutting off someone like that feels nightmarish. Yeah, this is rough. Unfortunately, there's not much that can be done about it, except to detach yourself from the friend until you can get over the limerence. It's a dismal message, but trying to stay friends with someone that you're limerent for is a category error. You can't build emotional intimacy while also decreasing romantic desire. It's sad, but you can't realistically keep a friendship alive while you're in the altered mental state of limerence. You'll just turbocharge the limerence while also being a rather emotionally erratic friend. Sorry, there's not much of a win to offer for this one, just accepting a fundamental limitation of emotional reality. But the one ray of hope is that it is possible to become friends with an old limerent object if you have succeeded in overcoming the limerence for them. So that can be used as motivation for doing the self-development work of understanding your own triggers and how and why they deepen your limerence to get to that goal. Okay, problem number 8, love confusion. How can love be so complicated? My biggest question is I cannot understand why I can be in love with my significant other and still feel so much for my limerent object. Well, the answer is that love comes in different forms and it changes over time. Limerence is an explosive burst of overwhelming desire that drives us to form a pair bond. It's about establishing a mating connection. Now, if it succeeds and you do form a romantic relationship, those wild emotions can settle down and a calmer, deeper, affectionate bond can develop over time. Instead, if limerence is frustrated by uncertainty or barriers, it can escalate into a behavioral addiction. So it's perfectly possible to feel a stable bond of love for one person, but a burst of limerent excitement for another. The mindset shift needed to make sense of this is that limerence is really about pattern recognition for a mate that your subconscious finds desirable. They will still exist in the world even after you've formed a healthy long-term love bond. So just as other people can provoke lust in you even though you love your spouse, some other people can provoke limerence too. Commitment is really about not pursuing those drives when they arrive, forsaking all others, as it were. Okay, problem number 9, I should want to give them up, but I don't. So we're sticking with the challenges of commitment. I've been deep in an emotional affair for months, and I know I have to stop, but I don't want to. Every option seems bad. Well, this is essentially the addict's dilemma. What I'm doing feels bad, the thought of carrying on feels bad, and the thought of stopping feels bad. Giving into temptation is pleasurable, and you've essentially conditioned yourself into a state of believing that you'll always just give in. Now, usually people who get stuck in this trap respond with inaction. They keep coasting along and hope that something changes or something forces the issue one way or another. And that's no way to live. The problem at the root of this is that indecisiveness has led you into late-stage limerence, into person addiction. The uncertainty created by the secrecy and the moral ambiguity deepens the addiction and transforms it into a relentless wanting drive that persists even after the harms are mounting up. And the only way out of that is to be decisive. Choose. You can't keep doing the same thing and hope for a different outcome. You can't eat your cake and have it. Finally, problem number 10, I'm an outlier. Okay, so I'm cheating a bit by bundling a lot of different problems into one at the end, but the idea here is, how do these principles apply to me? So Bob illustrates the issue. How does neurodiversity interact with limerence and the difficulties escaping it? Well, everyone's individual experience of limerence is unique. But while the details are unique, the basic neural mechanisms that operate are the same for all of us. Overactive reward signaling, compromised self-control, desperate wanting. So the engine of limerence lies in the mechanisms of our brain, but how we individually experience the symptoms depends on our own personalities, our life histories, and our psychological traits. Limerence with ADHD may be more prone to hyperfixations. Limerence with OCD may be more prone to distressing intrusive thoughts. Limerence with anxious attachment may be more prone to fear of abandonment. The main principles for recovery that I discuss, so no contact, training your executive brain, spoiling rewards, are effective at bumping your brain out of the altered mental state so that you can re-establish emotional stability. But the individual vulnerabilities, subconscious needs, and personal struggles will depend on who we are as individuals and our own individual limerence situation. And this is where therapy can be powerful for figuring out why we're vulnerable to certain people and why our own limerent experience is the way that it is. Okay, so that's the big 10 problems. I hope you found some helpful nuggets of wisdom if you're battling them yourself. And all of these problems can be overcome, but the starting point for everything is adopting a recovery mindset. So watch this video next to learn how to lay down rock-solid foundations for recovery and speed the whole process up. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you'd like more, and I'll see you next time.